So probably the biggest PUBG update that we've ever seen has just been added over on the test server and is going to be shortly rolling out to live servers within the next couple of days. But before that happens, we have a chance to talk about and look at some of the changes that we can expect. And truth be told, there is a ridiculous amount of stuff that is changing and will forever change the way that PUBG is played. Not only is matchmaking changing a significant amount, but there's been a lot of weapon rebalances, and some of these are going to be pretty controversial, so we're going to talk about all of them today. But if you guys do end up enjoying the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. That would be incredible. Subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, as we're getting really close to 300,000. Now, as most of us know, bots have been slowly but surely implemented into almost every build of PUBG. They were made for Google Stadia, and then they were slowly implemented over to console, and now they're making their way to PC, and they are on the test server currently, so that you can go and play with them and check them out. Now, if you want a full detailed explanation on how exactly the bots work, then I'm going to leave the link to some resources that you can read up on down below in the description. But basically, there are essentially two kinds of bots that are going to be added. There's ones that are for extremely new players that are just, they're not very good bots. They're essentially free kills. And then there are ones that are going to somewhat closely emulate real players and can actually shoot and move and stuff like that. But along with the addition of bots, now we are finally getting the long-awaited ranked mode. It is here, and it is replacing the survival system. Now, ranked is going to change matchmaking to the utmost degree. When you're looking to play a game in PUBG, you now have two options. You can play the ranked mode, which is going to be a max of 64 players featuring the maps Erangel, Miramar, or Sanhok, and they're going to operate under their own sort of esport rule settings. For example, there's going to be an overall increase in loot, and there's no crossbows, no red zone, and also no motor glider. And the blue zone is going to be more or less along the esports timing as well. Ranked mode will have its own incentives and reward systems as well, with badges and everything, and there's also going to be no bots in this playlist whatsoever. It will only be real players. And not to mention, if you're queuing up in ranked with your teammates, you need to be within reasonably similar skill levels for this to even work. You cannot pair like a top ranked player with a very bottom ranked player. It just doesn't exactly work that way. Interestingly, you're also going to need to verify your account via SMS. We knew this was coming from a while ago, but you're actually going to need to use your phone if you want to play ranked matches. And if for whatever reason you're banned using this account, then the SMS itself will be banned, basically not allowing you to play on that account on ranked mode anymore. The general rules for performance and ranking up or losing ranked in this mode are going to be centered around kills, assists, and personal placement. So basically how many people are left. And this is probably the most accurate metrics you can use, although you could argue that maybe some other ones should be included, but this is how you're going to rank up or lose rank within this mode. And even if you're playing just regular public matches that can potentially have bots, the amount and placement of these are going to be a little bit dynamic to the rest of the lobby. So for example, if you have a lobby of very highly skilled players, it's pretty likely that not a lot of them are going to be filled up with bots. On the other side of that coin, if there is a lobby with an influx of newer players, then it's probably going to be mostly bots for them to get a handle on the game. Now that's all the stuff we already sort of knew about, right? Bots have already been added, and we knew the ranked mode was coming, but if you want to read the full details on both of these systems, then I'm going to leave some links in the description you guys can check out. But what I really want to get into now is the weapon rebalancing. Now I'm going to read the statement that they include along with this for the reasoning of this rebalance. They say, with the introduction of ranked mode, we wanted to get in some balance adjustments we've been planning. The goal of this balance adjustment is to strengthen the characteristics of each weapon type so that tactics change depending on the firearms you choose, and to help make sure that one particular weapon isn't seen as overpowered. The M416 has long been the most powerful AR and one of the top guns in the game as a whole, so we've adjusted it and buffed some of the other ARs to give players alternate options. The first thing they've done is make the reload times on the Scar L, M4, and M16 a little bit longer, so you'll have to do these more tactfully. And while the reload time is going to be, marginally longer, it won't be a big difference, it's still something to keep in mind. And also, they say the M416, while fully equipped, the M4 was lethal even in far distances with its superior stability. They gave a little bit of a distribution chart here, and you can see the M4 is just clearly the dominant weapon. And that doesn't really surprise any of us, right? The M4 has been probably the best gun in the game for a really long time, but they've also done some more adjustments to this, not only with the extra reload time it has. They've decreased the base damage on the M4 from 41 to 40. They've also decreased the muzzle velocity from 880 milliseconds to 780. This means the bullets from here on out are going to have a little bit of a slower travel time, so this might throw off your muscle memory that you have with how far you should lead with the M4. This is going to take some getting used to. And they've also effectively reduced the maximum damage fall off range, so basically the M4 is not going to be effective at longer distances as it used to be, and this is going to avoid it being, you know, the all-encompassing, just one-size-fits-all weapon, but at the same time, it's getting neutered pretty hard, and so we're going to see how this plays out. I'm thinking at this point, the Scar L might actually take the, you know, the spotlight as being the go-to 5.56 AR, dethroning the M4 that was the reigning king for a long time. Let me know what you guys think about this rebalance. Now, also, some of the single-tap weapons like the M16 and the MK47 Mutant have had some readjustments as well. They've decreased the recoil when firing very quickly, and they've also added tracers only for your vision. Now, what this means is you're going to be able to see where your bullets are going much more clearly and how they're falling off and tracking and everything, but other people in the game, your enemies, won't be able to see these tracers. This adjustment should make these weapons a little bit more viable now, just because they weren't seeing a lot of pickup time, as they don't really have full auto options, which is a big reason players don't tend to gravitate towards these two weapons. Some of you might be happy to hear this one. The barrel M762 is getting a buff. They've increased the muzzle velocity from 680 to 740, so this is going to be around the same muzzle velocity as the new M4. Not only that, but they've also decreased the recoil on the barrel as well, and so I think this is actually going to be, along with the Scar L, some of the two most viable ARs in the game. We're going to have to wait to see how the meta ends up playing out with this readjustment, but I would suspect that these two weapons are going to have much more of a spotlight than they've had in the past. Shotguns across the board have all just received a buff, not only within their hipfire accuracy, and also decreased their drop-off over ranges, so these should be a little bit more effective than they have been in the past, especially in the mid to late game, where they pretty much just become unplayable, and each individual one has had its own slight rebalances. The S12 now benefits from a suppressor and also holds more using an extended quick draw mag. The pump shotgun has had its pump action speed increased, and the sawed-off has an increased reload speed now. So these have gotten a little bit of a buff just in general, and I think we're going to see maybe these a little bit more effective in not only the early game, but even mid to late. Now, those are most of the weapon rebalances. Interestingly, snipers didn't get touched at all. There's no mention of the Mosin getting its stats changed, which I suspect will probably be within the next update, although not included in this one. But not only have weapons got a big adjustment, but also armor's getting changed. So you guys know, for a while, armor would not only, of course, give you damage reduction, but it would increase your inventory space. And when broken, you would lose that inventory space. And when you're in PUBG without a vest, you're basically just cannon fodder. You can be absolutely deleted. And so this change actually adjusts armor in a way where even destroyed vests, you will not lose inventory space. And they're also not really gone even when destroyed. When you have a fully torn up vest, it's still going to continue to provide that whatever damage reduction, along with some aim punch reduction as well, even if it's destroyed. So this means at the end of the day, you really don't have to keep looting new armor even if your vest gets broken. And what I'm not sure about is if this even gives you an incentive to pick up new vests to begin with. Like, at this point, what's the difference between a fully functioning vest and a destroyed one if they both basically give you the same reduction, as well as like aim punch nerf as well? But with this change, they're never going to ever disappear off of your body. Of course, you're going to want to swap armor to, like, you know, higher tier, but you're never really going to want to swap down to lower tier with this change. To be honest, I understand why they made this adjustment, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because I felt like a big part of PUBG was, you know, this game inside of game idea where you're trying to decide whether you should pick up a fresh vest that's lower tier, or maybe you can hold out with the one you do have until maybe you get like a higher tier vest or one of a similar caliber, just a fresh one. There was like a lot of interesting decision making to be made there, and I think that this change kind of takes all of that away, so it might be more like competitive friendly, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. And finally, as far as big changes go, the gas can is once again getting another overhaul. Of course, they explode when being shot in the last patch we had to those, but if you've been watching the channel for a long time, I made a video around 2 years ago, I would say, talking about a potential adjustment that gas can should get. Explanatory. It also takes up a ludicrous amount of space in your inventory for so little reward if you do end up ever needing it. But I thought this the other day, and I don't really know why this idea popped in my brain. Get this. Imagine you pick up a gas can and you have the option to pour out some fuel along the ground and make a trail. You can shoot one end of that trail to light up the fire, kind of like a Molotov effect, but in a customizable pattern, however you want to line it. So maybe you can line the front of a door, or surround a building, or cut off a choke point, you know, surround somebody's teammate. Something fun like that that could make this a piece of equipment that you you can use creatively. And they've implemented exactly that. So basically, jerry cans can now be poured out on the ground, and the fuel or like the oil that comes out of it can be shot or either blown up with a Molotov to essentially light that area up. It takes about 7 seconds to fully, empty a fuel can, and then the gas that is on the ground will stay for about 3.5 minutes before it evaporates. But in that time, it can be shot. A Molotov can be thrown in it to light that entire pattern on fire. This was the original idea I actually had for these, and it's really cool to see them implementing this. Keep in mind, after a gas can has been poured out, it cannot be picked up again or reused after you've thrown it, but it can still explode, so they are still dangerous even after they've been emptied. This mechanic is going to do a lot of good, I think. There's a number of creative plays that you can do with this, and that was like originally what I felt they should have been in the first place. Shooting them to blow up was cool enough, but it was more or less just like a gimmick thing, and I think this actually gives it a real functionality at this point. And then as a minor update to sound, they say currently stereo panning of window breaking sounds are too sensitive. We've tweaked its sensitivity for a more natural stereo panning, and they've also changed the blue zone humming sound to only play while the zone is moving. Now, there is a pretty big issue in the game right now with, if a player is out of your line of sight, their footsteps are pretty much undetectable. They are silent, and they are looking into this, and they are trying to get it fixed, but it's not going to be within this patch, and hopefully within the next one, I would say. Sound is one of those things in PUBG where it can be in a really good spot or a really bad spot, and right now, it is in some pretty dire need of tweaking, but these ones are going to be good, and the adjustment to Windows is something that we'll all need to get used to. And of course, with every set of patch notes, there is an absolute mountain of bug fixes that have been implemented as well, which we're not going to go over all in this video. I wanted to touch on the major points in this, and if you do want to read every single change that is coming, then again, links down below, and you guys can go check that out. But what I'm really excited for is not only the new matchmaking systems, but also ranked is going to be fun. The weapon rebalancing is going to be exciting, but we'll have to see how the meta evolves over time with this. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about the armor system. Again, I would love to know your opinions on that one. And then finally, the jerry can patch is probably my favorite addition to this, and I think we'll do a lot of good for making PUBG a little bit more of a sandboxy game again. This update is currently on the test server if you guys want to go check it out and play, but it will be updated to live servers within the next few days. So this is something to be looking out for, but at the end of the day, the M416 is no longer the king in PUBG, and it's been a wild ride, but we'll see what really takes the spot next. I'd love to know your guys' opinions on this entire patch down below in the comment section. Do you agree with the weapon rebalancing? Do you agree with the armor? And what do you think about the gas cans as well? If there's any other issues you would like to see fixed in PUBG, let me know what that is down below as well. But if you guys did enjoy the video, drop a like rating, subscribe to the channel if you are brand new, and if you guys want to go follow me over on Twitch, I'm streaming almost every day there. Links in the description down below. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next stream or the next video. Have a good one, and peace out.